Hey everyone, it's Lisa Mears here. Thanks for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to be making a Thinking of You card, and I'll be doing some ink blending and some coloring, and I'll be using some products from Pink & Main's brand new January release, including this stamp set, which is called Stay Hoppy. It is such a sweet stamp set. It has three little girls, one carrying an umbrella, one looks like she's holding a frog. There's a lily pad, some sentiments such as just for you, thinking of you, and stay hoppy. I will also be using a piece of pattern paper from the year-round Plaids 2 paper pad, which has so many fun plaid designs in colors that you can use all year round. And I'll be using one of the pink designs for my card today. I'm going to start out by doing some coloring, and I stamped out the little girl holding the umbrella. This stamp set is so cute. There is a little frog on top of her umbrella, and she's dressed in her raincoat with her purse on her shoulder and her rain boots. And I'm going to color the umbrella in shades of pink. I have every other one of the sections of the umbrella in a darker pink, which is the peach pink Zig Clean Color Real Brush pen, and the other sections of the umbrella is in the lighter pink, which is the sugar almond pink. So I use those markers in addition to the blender to create the shaded look on those panels for that umbrella. So for the frog, I'm using the emerald green as well as the fluorescent green. So I just put a little bit of the emerald green, which is a darker shade of green, along the edge of the frog, and then came in with the fluorescent green and the blender to shade that out. And for her raincoat, I'm going to be using some purples. I have the lilac pen here, and I'm just adding some of the color along the edges, and then I'll use the blender to blend that out. So again, I am using my Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens. These are water-based pens, and I stamp my image on Bristol smooth cardstock, which is a very smooth cardstock, and it really makes it so easy for these pens to blend with that cardstock. You can also use watercolor cardstock. It will do the same thing, but I really like this Bristol Smooth because it is very smooth. Okay, so for the bow on her hair, I use the yellow as well as the star on the purse. And then for her shoes, I'm coming back in with the peach pink and the blender. And then for the purse, I'm using the sugar almond pink. I will have a list of all of these colors that I'm using down in the description box of this YouTube video and on my blog. So if you're interested in duplicating any of these colors, take a look at that if you wanted those for reference. So for her skin, I'm using mustard right where her hairline meets the edge of her face. And then I'm going to use the flesh color to blend that towards the center, and then the blender marker to blend all of that in towards the center. I am going to put some cheeks on her with the sugar almond pink and then blend those out with the blender. And then I'm going to come in with a white gel pen and just add some polka dots to her raincoat. I think adding the polka dots with that white gel pen, it just gives it a little bit more character. So I'll go ahead and bring this up close to the camera so you can see better what that looks like. It is so cute. So since this little girl is carrying a raincoat, it would make sense for her to be walking through some puddles. So I'm just going to take a pencil and just draw a little puddle here underneath her feet. And then I'll just trace over that with a very fine tip black Sharpie. And then I'm going to color that in. So I'm using the light blue Zig marker on the edges. I'll also add a little bit of blue lines going through that puddle. And then I'll use my blender marker just to blend that towards the middle. So because I added this puddle to the stamped image before I die cut it out. I am going to have to use my scissors and fussy cut it out. Another option, which you'll see a little bit later, is you can always die cut the stamped image first and then draw a puddle on its own and then just cut that out, and then when you add it to the card you can just add the puddle and then add the girl. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. I'll show you how I do that with the frog, because I am going to color up a frog and I have him in a puddle as well. So I'll show you how I do that here in a little bit. I am going to come back in with the light blue and just make it a little bit darker around some of the edges as well as underneath her feet to add a little bit more shadow, and then just blend that out a little bit better. And then I'll come in with a white gel pen and I'll just add some accent marks onto the puddle. And now she is finished, so I'm going to go ahead and use my scissors and I'm going to cut her out. I'm also going to color up this cute little frog using the same green colors, which is the emerald green and the fluorescent green. And I'll also use the blender to blend those colors out. And this little frog has some spots on him, which I'm going to color up in the mustard color, bring in some of the yellow, and then blend those colors. And I'm going to use some of those same colors for the cattail. So adding the mustard and some of the yellow and blender for those, and then the same greens for the grass. And I do want to mention, if you haven't seen Pink and Main's entire January release, make sure you check that out. There's a lot of good products in there. I will link my unboxing video here at the top right corner of this video, as well as in the description box below. And if you're interested in purchasing any of the products, I always appreciate when you use my links because it does help support me. And I have all of those links on my blog and in the description box of this video. So here's where you can see that I actually drew out a little puddle. I cut it out with my scissors and I am just coloring it. This might be easier so that you can die cut the frog and then you can just fussy cut out the puddle and then just place the frog on top of the puddle. So that's another option as well. All right, so let's go ahead and create a background for our scene. I have a piece of Bristol smooth cardstock and I cut it to 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to do some ink blending with some Distress Oxide inks, starting out here with the shaded Lilac, which is a very light purple. I'm going to add the shaded Lilac to the top portion of that cardstock. Next, I'm going to bring in a darker purple, which is the Dusty Concord, and apply that only to the edges of the already ink blended background. So I have a little bit of the purple on the edges and then the light purple in the center. I left the bottom part of that cardstock white because I'm going to come in and add some green to it because I want the green to represent the grass. So the purple will represent the sky and then the green will represent the grass. So for the green, I am coming in with the Mowed Lawn Distress Oxide ink and I'm just inking up that white part at the bottom. To add some interest to this background, I am spritzing it with water and then I'm going to take a paper towel and press it onto the background, and the water with the paper towel will pull up some of that ink to add some more interest. I stamped out the Thinking of You sentiment, and the coordinating dies for this stamp set do have dies to cut all of those sentiments out, and I love that. So here I'm just going to go ahead and create my little scene with the little girl and the frogs. I think this is so cute. I put one of the cattails behind the girl and I'm going to put one behind the frog and then put one in front. When you do it like that, it adds for some more depth for your card. So I showed the coloring of one of the cattails on camera, but I did color 2 more up off camera the same exact way. So I'll go ahead and add the sentiment, and I'm going to add this to a piece of that plaid cardstock. I cut the plaid to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches. Next, I'm going to add that to an A2 size white card base. And because this little girl has an umbrella and she's splashing in a puddle there, I wanted it to look like there was some rain going on this panel. So I'm taking my Nuvo crystal drops. This is the Morning Dew color, which dries clear, and I'm just putting drops of the Nuvo drops onto my background panel. I'm not putting any over the stamped images. I'm only putting it where the purple is. And then I'm taking a pin and I'm just dragging down to make it look like there's little raindrops here. And I'm just putting them in a diagonal direction so it looks like she is getting rained on. So again, these will dry clear. So this is the last thing that I do for my card after it's all assembled onto the card base because it will take just a little bit to dry. And that will complete my card for today. So if you're interested in any of the products I use, check the description box below and on my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.